Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 18 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Shaolin Andrew. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. You're awesome. And Shaolin wants to know, what do I think of this new cast? And do I tend to completely fall in love or hate a cast by the end? Those are great questions. First things first, what do I think of the new cast? I'm enjoying it so far. I think we have a pretty clear division between people who know the game and people who don't know the game, and I think that's always interesting because you always assume that the people who know the game are just going to dominate, but there's always a few that surprise us. Look at John Party from Big Brother Canada 2. He didn't know the game when he went in, and he freaking won. So, I mean, it comes down to competitions, luck. There's a lot of different factors involved, so I think that's really fun, and I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's a good mix of people. And your second question, do I tend to completely fall in love or hate a cast by the end? It's hard for me to answer that, you know, with like a general answer that covers multiple seasons. I feel like we go on a journey with the house guests every season, and like most Big Brother fans, I can be very fickle. One week I love somebody, the next week I'm just like, go away. But I will say this, at the end of every season, I don't really hold grudges. Once the season's over, even if I could not stand someone during the season, afterwards I'm just like, I don't care, like whatever, you're a human being. That was a game, so I don't hold grudges in that way, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. So now let's get to plugging Patreon. If you guys want to be house guest of the day, make sure you check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It only takes $1 for a holla. Now let's get into what's going on in the house, because we've got a lot to talk about, of course. So they had the Power Veto competition yesterday. The host was Michelle. And we had 6 players, the HOH Nicole, 3 nominees, Pauly, Paul, Jose, and then 2 extra players, Day and Corey. And if you were just like, wait, there's 3 nominees, you should definitely check out yesterday's spoiler where I explained the new roadkill competition. So for this competition, they were dressed up in dog costumes, and Michelle was like a fire hydrant, and not like a Stefan fire hydrant, but like ones that dogs pee on. So there was like spinning and like some stacking involved in this competition. I don't know exactly what it was yet, but Paul was the winner. And it sounds like he had a very obnoxious celebration after. I think he like indirectly called Nicole a bitch or something, or like I think Jose might have done that too. It's not a good look. So even though Paul won the Power Veto, he has no idea what's going on in this house. He's like, so I'm safe now, right? Like, he had to actually ask people if he would be safe if he used the veto. He was also not sure if he should use it on himself. He's like, well, are my teammates going to be mad at me if I use it? Hello, it's like a given in this game. If you win the POV, you use it on yourself. Come on. So he's also not sure who won the roadkill competition and nominated him, because he was not one of the original nominees. So we know that it was Frank. He has no idea. So he's trying to figure out who he should be mad at. What are you doing? So he also thinks that Pauly is going to be going home this week, and his 2 closest allies, Jose and Victor, are also thinking that. So they're talking about the replacement nominee, and they're thinking it's probably either going to be Devon or Zakia. So they're thinking like, alright, they're on the same team as Paul. Whoever won the roadkill competition is going to be targeting that team. And also, there's not that many options for replacement nominee, because no one from James or Nicole's team can be nominated. So they're thinking it's going to be Day or Zakia. Another thing to note with this alliance, Jose called again for a 2 a.m. meeting. The first one did not happen. This time he invited more people. I guess he's realizing he's gonna need votes if he wants to stay in this house. But again, he's like pretty confident that he's got them. So Paul, Victor, and Jose were all strategizing together in the have-not room. I think they have an alliance name. I think it's called, like, what was it? I didn't write it down because it's just like, oh, whatever. I don't know. It's something with an R. It was something like stupid, but whatever. So Paul thinks that they should target James next. He's like, Jose, I know you're totally against Nicole right now, but James is a bigger threat than her. He's making these faces at me like I gotta go, so he's gotta go. So then Paul is saying that he thinks that James won the roadkill competition and nominated him. And his reasoning for that is that he's noticing that Frank is feeling very safe this week. So he thinks that James won it and is protecting Frank. Maybe Frank feels so safe because Frank won the competition. Am I missing something here? I don't know. But anyway, they were having their strategy discussion in the have-not room. All of a sudden, a bunch of people bust in there. So we've got Davon, James, Zakiya, Natalie, and Bronte all coming in that room at the same time. And James is just like, what's up, guys? Did he know that they were talking about him? I don't know. But he was like, it looks like there's a mother effing meeting going on in here. So he's like, what are you guys talking about? So they're like, oh, well, we're just trying to figure out who the replacement nominee is going to be. So Bronte's like, guys, what does it matter if Polly's gonna go home anyway? I haven't practiced that yet, so just wait for the puppet show. It'll be much better. But yeah, she's also sounding like Polly's gonna be going home. What? So James is playing along with it. He's like, yeah, you guys have got my vote. And Victor's like, yeah, we got all the votes. It's all good. Oh, God. So Day and Zakiya are also playing along with this. And then Jose just, like, takes over this little meeting, and he starts, like, preaching. He's like, I'm Obama in this house, and, like, we run this bitch. Like, he kept saying over and over again, like, we run this place. We run this mother effing place. Oh, my God. He was telling them that they all need to stick together, and then Bronte was like, Polly's gonna try and get our votes, but, like, we need to stay away from the paranoia, and it's all gonna be okay. So keep in mind, like, during this meeting, Jose keeps saying the whole we run this bitch thing. Jose and Paul are still wearing their dog costumes from the Power Veto competition, so it was hilarious. And I don't know how these other people in there were not freaking busting out on their asses laughing, because I would be dying. But anyway, this powwow breaks up when Michelle comes in the room, and it's like super awkward because she walks in and she's like, hi guys, and a bunch of people are just like, I'm out of here, I gotta take a dump, I'm taking a shower, blah blah blah. So that happened. Michelle's just like, whoa, this is weird, were you guys talking about me or what? And they're just like, yeah, it was weird. So anyway, a little while later, Frank and Paul were chatting in the bathroom, and Frank is seeing some things in the house that he's not liking. He drops some wisdom on Paul. This lesson's all for free. So he's like, yeah, you don't want to be on the wrong side of the vote this early in the game, especially if it's a landslide, because if it's like a 9-2 vote or something, and that person wins the HOH, like, you're going to be the next target. So you should really think about what you're doing here. Also, not a good idea to name half of the house as your targets, because then you're going to lose your majority and you're not going to be able to follow through, and all these people are going to know that they're your targets. So keep your mouth shut. Also, Frank was like, I don't think it was cool what you said to Nicole after the veto competition, so you should probably talk to her. Also, don't go up to the HOH room after you're nominated and tell the HOH that they're the next to go. Just ah! So Frank is trying to help Paul out, and honestly, I do not like Paul at this point, but I feel like out of that group of Paul, Victor, and Jose, I think Paul has the best chance of, like, turning things around and actually becoming a better player, but we'll see what happens. So last night was a big night for the siblings in the house. Tiffany and Polly were chatting, and she told him that she is Vanessa's sister. So they're bonding over the sibling connection. They're talking about Vanessa's season. They're talking about Cody's season, blah, blah, blah. They're so giddy that both of their secrets are out to each other and they can talk about this. And I gotta be honest right now, Tiffany last night, there was a while where she was wearing sunglasses and a hat. And I swear it was like Vanessa was back in the house. It was so freaking weird. I was freaked out. It was crazy. But I'm glad they have each other now and they can talk about it. They were even studying already for competitions, for future competitions. So that's all great for them. But Day and Zakiya saw them talking on the spy screen, and Day is getting a little concerned. She's like, Polly is not in this 8-pack alliance, and I always see Polly and Tiffany like off chatting together, like what the frig are they talking about? So, I mean, the 8-pack alliance all knows about Tiffany being Vanessa's sister, but now she's just, Day is like, does Polly know about this? Like, what's going on here? So she's getting a little suspicious of Tiffany, and that could be a problem. I do not want to see anything happen to the Fatal 5 alliance. But anyway, Bridget is also getting nervous because she's realizing only a few people are eligible to be the renom this week, and she knows that it could be her. It's gonna be her. Frank has already told his alliance that, like, it's gonna be Bridget. Even though she's on his team. But, like, let's be real. She's not going anywhere this week. So she's getting upset about that. She also feels like people are accusing her of flip-flopping because she went up to the HOH for like 5 minutes. So the newbie guys are just like, what are you doing talking to them? And then the vets and all of them are like, is she spying on us? So she kind of feels like she's being bullied by everyone. I don't think it's bullying. I don't like when people use that term lightly. But she's not feeling good, which sucks. So people are kind of trying to like help her out and talk to her, so that's cool. Stop! I think Frank and Paul both gave her a pep talk. It's a cat! You know him! Alright, so anyway, there was a booze delivery last night from Big Brother. They got some wine and some beer. Of course, they had to play Truth or Dare and spin the bottle, because when do they not do that on this show when they get alcohol? I'm not really going to elaborate on that, but if you guys want to flash back, go for it. So, also, after that, there was a late night chat with Jose, Paul, and Pauly. So I don't think this was the official 2 a.m. meeting that Jose was planning. Again, that didn't happen, but this was a real meeting of the minds. There was a lot of nonsense and rambling. What I gathered from this conversation, okay, they were talking about the voting breakdown. Victor and Jose were trying to pick Pauly's brain and see where the votes are going to fall. And Pauly was playing along. He was acting like he's going to be in danger this week. He's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the votes. Alright, and then the guys, Victor and Jose, were like, oh, well, wouldn't it be great if we could get a girl to be the renom, and then we'll just get rid of her. And then they were talking about how they don't want to be 2 guys down this early in the game. It's really going to mess them up. It was all BS. But anyway, let's talk about this morning. Frank was outside talking to himself, talking to the feedsters. He was all like, I'm sleeping a lot and it's great. Sorry, Mom, for this outfit and the cursing. So then Pauly goes outside and he's telling Frank all about his conversation with Jose and, did I say Victor? I meant Jose and Paul from last night. So, I can't get these people straight yet. So, he was telling him how Jose thinks that he's safe. Everybody knows that. And Frank's just like, these people are idiots. I can't believe he actually thinks that he's going to have all the vets' votes. Seriously, though. So, Frank is telling Pauly, don't talk game with him for the rest of the week because it would be awesome if we could blindside him. It would be hilarious. And it's really going to mess up all those other newbies for the HOH competition. And I think that's a good point. And I also think it would be awesome. So, I hope they pull it off. But anyway, today was pretty much a pool day. They were all hanging out outside in the backyard now that it's open again. We got a little bit of a heated political discussion with Frank, Corey, and Jose. Again, just like Truth or Dare, I'm not really going to get into this right now. I don't want to get into the politics, but I think it's worth flashing back if you were curious. And I think we're going to pick it up there tomorrow. I'm a little nervous about these cracks that I'm seeing with like Day and Tiffany, but we'll see what happens. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until tomorrow, much love.
Edit.